third edition of the Morocco Classic starts, as is usual, in Casablanca. There are 2,200 kilometres to be covered, divided into 7 stages. From Casablanca to Marrakesh, the rally allows drivers to discover or rediscover a great variety of Moroccan scenery. From the white town to the red town, the 36 teams will have a colourful time, and that's partly why they're here. We love being here. It's great. We see beautiful things, beautiful scenery, beautiful cars. It's a voyage of rediscovery every year, because even if sometimes we cover the same roads, there are always new things to see. It's incredible.
For me, it's the landscape, it's the country itself, it's Morocco, and it's nice to spend so many hours with my husband in the car. And I think for my husband, he loves to drive the car, and also the landscape. It's the country actually, and the people.
And then there are those like Christophe and Alain, who are still hungry from last year. They're persisting with their Shelby Cobra 289, an Anglo-American car of the 60s and 70s. This version is from 1964, only 580 were made. What Christophe likes the most about his car is the V8 engine. It's an American engine, a Ford 289 CI, 4.74 litres. The engine is pushed to 483 horsepower, and so it's a heavy beast. When you drive it with 2 hands.
Quand on veut bien s'appliquer à 2 mains. On ne conduit pas ce type d'auto avec une seule main. Attention, faut pas accélérer quand même parce que sinon elle s'engorge. C'est vrai. En ville, faut faire attention quoi.
It's not a car for doing your shopping, it's for racing on circuits. And that's handy because there are 3 circuits on this year's Morocco Classic. As long as you get that far. That's over and beyond, of course, the 3 kilometres of tests done on the roads of Casa.
Vous avez donc fait 3 kilomètres.
Une envie de pouvoir rouler avec notre
voiture. We want to drive our car effectively because last year we had to hire a car. We did the race just to get about, but it was less spicy, of course. Last year, in their first Morocco Classic, the number 15 team had to abandon after the first day because of a burnt-out clutch. This year, with a new ceramic clutch similar to those used on the Mustangs, the objective is simple. We hope not to have any problems, and we hope to never hear talk of clutches again. If the Cobra intends above all to reach the finish, the Mustang of Russian Ernest Rubiak has other ambitions.
Well, first of all, it's a beautiful trip. Second of all, I love the competition. And Fritz told me that no one's won this rally in a Mustang. So it's my goal now to do so. We'll see what happens.
The Spaniards, title holders in their Jaguar XK140, also intend to win. But what counts above all in this deluxe rally is good humour and shared times. When the time comes for the grand start, the atmosphere is relaxed among the 36 teams. Everyone here is out to enjoy driving their classic cars. They're often machines that are more fun to drive in rallies than in everyday life. It starts with the road to Ifran, 400 kilometres away. There'll be 3 specials today. the competitors are out in the nature with a route that crosses the Cataract Plateau, something the Morocco Classic takes on for the first time. After the first two specials on sinuous and technical roads, on now to the crossing of the eucalyptus forests. It's also time for the first mishaps. The Mustang of Ernest Ribiac has come to a standstill. For the last few kilometers, the Russian has been hearing strange noises, notably from the back.
You know, they just finished redoing it, and this is my first time taking it for a long drive, so all of the bugs will come out. But this was unexpected.
The Russian had high hopes with an as-new Mustang, but now it's going to have to be put in the hands of the rally mechanics. After a make-do-and-mend job in order to reach Ifran, it's now the entire back end that needs dismantling. The Shelby Cobra of Christophe and Alain seems to have got away better than last year and is going along at a good speed. In fact, it's going flat out. Maybe a lack of oil in the regularity instruments. Alain can complain all he wants. He's no novice though, and has been doing regularity rallies for 9 years. The two friends will at least enjoy themselves in the liaison section, and at last they managed to shed light on the mystery of the fuel consumption of the Cobra. After 110 kilometers, more than 50 litres per 100. Last year it used 20 to 25. Yeah, that's why we've broken down. You were driving in first, or what? Luckily for them, they ran out of fuel in a village 60 kilometers ago. The lads have their heart in it and are now monitoring consumption as they fill up again.
19,53.
The mystery of the breakdown remains, but there's no problem in the end. Depending on the stage profile and the driver, it uses between 27 and 40 litres per 100 kilometres. Christophe and Alain finished the day at the bottom of the standings, but the rally has only just started. On the second day, the teams will come back to have lunch and to sleep here at Ifran. They prepare for things in light-hearted mood, almost as light as Jean-Michel's DS. Or nearly. His beautiful blue car has been reduced to its simplest form, a chassis, plastic bodywork and the engine. Despite being simple, it catches the eye. Does it need a lot of preparation, Jean-Michel, we asked? He says no, there are 3 liquids to look at: water, oil and the hydraulic liquid, and that's it. The laps around Ifran allow the rally field to run in inhabitual landscapes, and this year there's even snow, whether it's in the Ain-le Hill or on the plateau of the Atlas. The other surprise of the morning is the encounter with monkeys a few kilometres from Ain-le. The first competitors didn't have the time to stop. They needed to get to the start of the afternoon special. You get used to the circuit, you choose your speed, and then on the second lap the clock will start. Time now for the first of the 3 circuits on the rally. 7.4 kilometres to be covered 4 times around the day at our lake. This test has by now become traditional on the Morocco Classic. It's the chance for the biggest engines to open up and let rip on a road that's been closed off for the competitors. The clockings will only give their verdict once everyone's come through. But around the lake it appears that experience of and knowledge of the circuit are precious assets. The Porsche Tulali Verger pairing confirms its savoir-faire and wins the day here, level with Méziane and Schimau in their Ford Mustang 2+2. The Swiss team of Gazan and Beza, new on the rally, opt for the tourist tactics, and they finished 22nd, the best rookies in the rally. Philippe Marichal and Isabelle Bonny finished last yesterday, but their calibration problems haven't affected their good humour at the dawn of the third day. Stability is difficult. We're not able to adjust things, but it will be okay. Others take their time to observe their neighbours, especially the newcomer. It's not mine, but it's a very beautiful Aston Martin. It's from a very spectacular era, and it's very beautiful, very elegant. Antoine is a connoisseur. This Aston Martin wins the Elegance Prize at the rally. Despite the 2 next to its name, it's a first-generation DB, David Brown's initials. 411 cars were produced. It was conceived of as a coupe, and we note its lines, but also its leather seats and the dashboard made out of real wood. What's special is that it's an engine designed by Bentley, by Mr. Bentley himself. He did this. The 2.6-litre engine allows it to develop 105 horsepower at 5,000 revs per minute, but that's not all.
What's special on this car is the setup of the front suspension. I had a specialist who really knows how to set this up. The cars can be tricky. If they are really set up well in the front, they drive very well. And this is one of the cars that drives so smoothly. It's fast, it runs well, reliable, and just like the form, and I just love Aston Martin.
Heinz Stam, the happy owner of this DB2, is loving being in Morocco, as this little jewel is very stable and doesn't come unstuck on some tricky roads, and belts along on the wide roads. Loads of people are making the most of the journey between Ifrane and Erfoud. On this third stage, after 2 hills and these is gorgeous, Heinz Stam and his DB2 are third on the stage, their best result in all the rally. That said, it was the worst day for the Arlo with an 18th place, but the DS hasn't said its final word. Jean-Michel is all smiles because today between Erfoud and Ouarzazate it's going to be sporty and he loves that. Yeah, Jean-Michel hasn't always enjoyed being in this car. My father had a DS and I thought it was horrible. We were ill in the back and I never thought I'd buy a DS and compete in rallies in it. It was from meeting Bob Nere that his passion for this car came about. The Citroën driver lent him one and Jean-Michel was seduced by it. His wife, Marie-Françoise, a bit less so. I think it's a bit slow when we're climbing compared to certain cars we had before, but we managed to move forward nevertheless. It's just getting back on the gas that's a bit difficult.
C'est une voiture qui est faite pour les raids.
This car is made for raids. It's made for driving anywhere on any terrain. It can cope with very bad roads, the sand and stones. It can compete anywhere because the suspension is very good and the grip is very good. We can lift the car up if we need to go through a wadi.
La baisser si on veut aller très vite sur une route.
You can lower it if you want to go quicker on a road. The car is very versatile. It's big too. We can fit a lot into it, including several backup wheels. The tank holds 90 litres and that means you can go a long way. It's really designed for raids rather than pure rallying.
Plus qu'une voiture de rallye pure.
This DS is legendary. It was General de Gaulle's car, but above all, a real cinema star. Back to the Future 2, L'été meurtrier and the Tonton Flingueur. It doesn't leave people indifferent.
Et je trouve que cette voiture a une cote de sympathie.
People are very fond of this car. It's better to have a car like this than all the other ones that you see, like the Porsches. You see them a lot on the rallies. This one changes things up a little, and it's nice to have a car that's a bit different.
Qui finalement, bon, là, ça change un peu de tout ce qu'on voit. Donc c'est toujours sympathique d'avoir une voiture qui sort de l'ordinaire.
And being blue, the car is impossible to miss. But on the route of the Morocco Classic, whether in the open plains or in little villages, the public love all the cars. The difficulties of the day, the wadis. Everyone has their own method for getting through, quick or slow, and with or without an automatic wash for the car's occupants. At the end of the day and on the way into Azazat, there's beautiful scenery to admire and the famous Todra Gorges. This year, the Coton's father and daughter are more determined than ever.
Tout peut arriver, hein. On peut brûler, on peut casser, on peut... Ouais, non, ça peut aller vite, hein.
Anything can happen, she said. Things can happen quickly, and they're the best place to know that. It always hangs by a thread. The competition goes on to the final wheel revs. Last year, they didn't make it to the end, leaving their Porsche out en route. The Belgians are persistent and back with a Porsche 911, 10 years younger than the defunct one from last year. The parts are original, the car has been revised. Damien hopes it will last the distance, but he's only driven it for 500 kilometres. And that counts when you're aiming for a rally win, especially in regularity, when each metre and every second counts.
Si je prends virage gauche, je coupe à la
If I
corde.
take a left corner, I cut it a little bit.
Là, il doit ajouter des mètres parce que j'ai parcouru moins de distance.
That will have to add a few metres. I haven't been in this car all that much. It's all about readjusting. Asked about whether it's a science, regularity rallying.
C'est de la science.
He responds with a pun, which doesn't need translating.
Vas-y, 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 moins 20, moins 30, encore, moins 40, vas-y, comme tu peux, moins 40, encore.
Back to the heart of Special 9, one of the hardest of the rally, taking place in the mountains on Tizi and Talgmut on an open road.
Tu tiens, encore un peu, moins 4, je klaxonne.
Non, ça va.
0,
Concentre-toi sur la vitesse.
0, 1. 0.
Je vais dépasser après le virage.
Ah, d'accord, 0. Ouais, dans la
Là,
corde.
je vais couper. Merde.
D'accord. Oh, d'accord, j'ai rajouté 10.
Plus 15.
Oh, mais j'ai rajouté parce que t'as coupé. Moins 2 encore, vas-y. Ouh, c'était chaud ça. Moins 1, tu tiens, c'est bon. Moins 2. Moins 2, c'est bon. Moins 2, c'est bon.
C'était chaud. Oh
Moins 3, pas trop. Cirque là, allez, moins 1, 0.
Attends, dis.
0.
Il y avait un taxi qui arrivait dans l'autre sens.
Ouais, on s'est presque tué, c'est bon. 0.
Voilà.
0. 0, moins 1, 0. C'est bon, 0. Et top. 48. Oh, tata.
Et alors, 7-8 carrés, c'est bon?
Ouais, c'est bon. On accepte.
Ah oui, 7.
Ouais, c'est bon.
On a 5 mètres de différence.
Ça va, super.
Donc, qu'est-ce que t'en penses?
Super.
Top.
Top. Super.
It's one of the 3 specials that the Cotons win. but it's not necessarily enough to win the Morocco Classic. How to be the best, it's one of the debates for the competitors at the coffee break. This morning, the fifth stage towards Agadir and Tagzu starts. Fritz and Brigitte Kaiser are determined to be among the cars competing for the overall win. But the mountain leading to Agana and its sinuous road may well end up deciding the rally. The car getting through it best is the title holder, the Spaniard Cerezo, at the wheel of his Jaguar XK140. The last day of the race allows a freewheel into Marrakesh with a special on the karting circuit of Agadir.
It's important because people want to be able to express themselves at pace and they want it to count.
Some clients say it's not quick enough, some too quick. Here they can decide their own pace. Speed? You said speed? Entrants do have to think about their average speed, however, as this is a special. And in this little game of control, the great morning surprise comes from the women's duo in the Morgan, third in the special. The best are Wiederin and Hofer in their Porsche 356A. They score their first special win, enough to boost their morale after oil problems the previous day, and enough to get them back in the hunt for the overall win. The afternoon events take place in the Tizian test. They should decide things.
Mes amigos, les champions. Non, champion. On va voir demain. Demain. Mañana. Comme on dit en Espagne, c'est mañana. Mañana, toujours mañana. Oh, peut-être, si c'est. Inch'Allah, on dit.
Damien Coutins is staying careful, but on the roads into Marrakesh, he's so consistent that he's leading the rally. The last special on the Marrakesh circuit is nothing but a formality. The Coutins family wins the 2016 edition of the Rally Morocco Classic.
L'équipe de choc de cette année, oui.
Yeah, we were the best this year.
Hier, avec ces réseaux, on avait, non, avec Toali, ces réseaux, il y avait 2 dixièmes de seconde.
Yesterday, well, it was a 0.2 of a second. It's always about 2 or 3 meters difference. It's nothing. We could have lost it on one single section. Well, this year there's a Porsche 123 on the podium. Chilali and Vergier in second in front of Wiederin and Hofer.